The views and opinions expressed on this program do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of 580 WCHS, its employees, or WVRC Media. From the studios of WVRC Media, the country, the United States of America, the state, West Virginia, the city, Charleston. This is the Dave Allen Show on 580 Live. And your host.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
He's kind of a big deal.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
Dave Allen.
But at least you can buy alcohol now, so you got that going for you, right?
Right.
All right. Let's get to the Adopt Me Please Pet of the Week, and as always, pictures posted Dave Allen Radio on Facebook, also the WCHS Network Facebook page, as well as my X page. It's at Dave870. Tell us all about Henry.
So Henry is one of the sweetest dogs I've met in my time at the shelter. He's about 8 to 9 years old, so if you love a senior dog, he is going to be a perfect option for you. He does well in play groups. He gets kind of put off by other male dogs, but he can coexist with other male dogs. He just doesn't like them in his face.
He must be like I am with people. Then he just kind of get put off with people. Don't want him in my face. So I can relate, Henry. I can relate.
Right. Only ladies are welcome in his face.
Okay, got it. I got it.
But we don't have any history on how he is with cats. He does great with kids, and he loves to play with toys, specifically anything that's in the shape of a tennis ball. But he's neutered, he's sponsored, and ready to get out of the shelter. He's had such a rough start to his life that I would love more than anything to see him go.
What do we know? You said that in your text to me that you sent me prior to the show, that he'd had a rough life. What do we know about his life? I know there's probably not a lot, but what makes you think he had a rough life coming in?
So essentially, there's not a whole lot of details that I can share, but we'll just say that he came in as a cruelty case from his previous owners, and we'll call it like that.
Okay.
We'll say that.
All right, that sounds good. Meanwhile, for that person, spot reserved in hell. All right. So Henry would be a great, great dog. And again, that's one of the things that amazes me about these animals that we talk about every week. Is there are so many of them, Angie, as you well know, that have gone through horrific things. I mean, absolutely. And I don't know. I'm not speaking about Henry specifically, but I mean animals in general that have gone through absolutely just devastating things. But still, the tail's still wagging. They still want to play with the kids, and they still want to go chase a tennis ball.
I was thinking about this the other night, just about how amazing animals are in that fact of how easy they are to forgive and how loyal they are to people, when a lot of people most certainly don't deserve it. So I was actually thinking about that the other night.
Well, let's try to get Henry a home, because, I mean, he's a great-looking dog. What kind of dog? Any idea?
So I would say I've been calling him a boxer of a different font. Boxers don't typically come in that color, but I just say boxer in a different font.
He is a beautiful, beautiful dog. And again, I mean, checks all the boxes, man. I mean, he's great with other calm dogs, great with kids. We don't know about cats yet, but loves to play. And for everything this dog has gone through, is what you've told me. And I know you can't tell us too much because it was a cruelty case. He's ready to go, and he needs to get out of the shelter, and he needs to be in somebody's home.
Absolutely. He is the perfect dog. I can't explain it enough. You see me stumbling over my words. Yeah. He's just a great dog.
Well, again, we want to, we do this feature every Friday, the Adopt Me Please Pet of the Week, and we always want our dogs adopted. But this one especially, I am calling on you, listeners of this show, or if you know somebody that is looking for a great dog, and you will be the hero of the day, perhaps the year, if you go and you adopt this dog, because this dog has had a rough life, and he's still, if dogs could smile, he's smiling. He's still ready to go, be a great, great addition to your family. And we'll get back to Henry here in a couple of moments. I want to give props, Angie, to Kanawha County Commissioner Lance Wheeler, because he's working with you guys, and I just saw this on your social media, trying to find homes for the longest-serving residents of the shelter. Talk about that.
Yes, so we are very thankful for Commissioner Wheeler's idea to do that. Our long-term residents often get overlooked because, you know their name, you know what they look like, and you just, you keep scrolling when you see them, right, usually because, you know these dogs. But we're super thankful for Commissioner Wheeler for shining essentially a new spotlight on these dogs. And sharing that same mission that we have of wanting to place even the ones that are kind of harder to place, but not harder to love. We appreciate him also sharing that same mission and same belief with us. And
speaking of dogs that have been around a long time, I understand around New Year's, the longest serving, if you will, resident of the shelter, Hercules, got adopted. Yes, I could not believe it. I didn't know that was happening. I could not believe that was happening. Hercules had been in our shelter for almost 2 years, or really close to that 2-year mark. And he's one of those dogs that needed a very, very unique home with no kids, no other pets, adults only in the home. And by the miracle of 2026, as I'm calling it, that perfect home walked through the door right before we closed on New Year's Eve. I mean, how cool is that? You can't write a better Hollywood script than that, Angie.
I know, and I am hoping an agent is listening and wants to pick that story up. All right,
definitely. If we have a lot of agents that listen to this show, then let's make this happen. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live is brought to you in part by Live Healthy, West Virginia, presented by WVU Medicine, a podcast promoting healthier lifestyles in and beyond the state. Check out the latest episodes, WVMetroNews.com, under the podcast menu. A couple of texts here for you. Angie one says, are there any updates that can be shared about the sweet young puppy that was found in a grocery cart at Elkview Kroger? It was having seizures. Also, does anyone know if the siblings are safe? Texter says, read online that they were way too young to be taken away from their mama. I know you had the picture and the story posted on the Facebook page of the shelter. What can you tell us about that particular case?
For once, I finally have some wonderful updates. That puppy, the solid black puppy, is eating on its own now. It's alert, and it's still in our ICU unit to be monitored, but it's been just nothing but progress since that night. So that puppy is doing wonderful, and we actually got the 2 siblings as well. I do believe their names are Ginger, Salt, and Pepper, if you want to call and get updates on them. But everyone is doing great so far. All right. You guys out and about anywhere this weekend? We are not. We're going to take the new year in just at KCHA. We'll be open from 12 to 5 Saturday and Sunday. So. All right. Well, certainly you deserve a little bit of a rest. We have another text here that said, are there any of your puppies going to be in the Puppy Bowl this year? That I do not believe so. I have not received any emails about it, but our other community engagement director, Sarah, she might have had some comms on that. So if I find out that information from her, I will definitely let you know, and we can talk about that next week. All right. As we head into the new year, any wants and needs? I know you guys always need the puppy chow and the things like that. Anything in particular that you're in need of? Wet food for both cats and adult dogs and puppies, and we're not picky on brands for that. And then your typical cleaning supplies. We go through paper towels, steel wool scrubbers, dishwashing liquid, and laundry detergent very quickly. So any type of cleaning supply, we will make use of. And we want to make sure that people realize, because so many people, Angie, listen to this segment every week, and they visit you guys, they follow you on social media, and they want to be able to help, but they're not always in a position to be able to adopt, or sometimes not even in a position to be able to foster, as you have many wonderful foster families. There are so many ways that you can help out the shelter that don't involve ever getting an animal. If you're an animal lover, so many things you can do to help. Absolutely. And if you're not in a position to volunteer your time, which I understand being busy, trust me, and you aren't in a position, I know we're coming off of Christmas, so you're not really in a spot to donate supplies either. Just sharing the word and telling people about, our needs and our pets, and, choosing to adopt over purchasing from a store or a breeder. That makes also as much of a difference as adopting a pet would. So word of mouth goes a long way. It does indeed. Angie, always a pleasure. Happy New Year. We'll talk to you next week. Thanks a lot. Happy New Year. Thank you. Angie Gillenwater from the Kanawha Charleston Humane Association with this week's Adopt Me Please Pet of the Week. Again, head on over to my social media. It's Dave Allen Radio on Facebook, or at DaveA70 on X, or the WCHS Network Facebook page as well. Check out Henry. Henry is about 8 or 9 years old, got a little boxer in him. He's neutered. He's housebroken.
He's great with kids, great with calmer dogs, loves his toy, lives his life for a tennis ball. But the more important thing we want to take away from the segment this week about Henry, guys, is that this is a dog, and Angie couldn't go into a lot of details. This was a dog that came from a horrific abuse situation. And despite the fact that this dog has gone through unimaginable things, the dog still, if dogs could smile, the dog is smiling and still just wants to play and wants to have fun. So before you go to a breeder, don't get me started on that, or anything like that. You want a great dog, 8 or 9 years old, a little bit of an older dog, still loves to play, loves his toys, loves kids, housebroken, neutered. Henry is your dog. I'm begging you, please go take a look at Henry. Again, I've got his picture posted. Dave Allen Radio on Facebook, also the WCHS Network Facebook page, or at Dave A70 on X. It's 9:20. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live is brought to you in part by Bridge Valley Community and Technical College. Check out bridgevalley.edu. Bridge Valley Community and Technical College. Your career starts here. We're going to take a break. Greg Thomas, political strategist, coming up a little bit later on the show, and Kanawha County School Superintendent Dr. Paula Potter coming up next on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Brought to you by the Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses want to thank you for supporting local small businesses.
Join Mark Patrick Hypnosis. Lose the weight or stop smoking guaranteed only $59.99. Wednesday, January 14th at the Holiday Inn and Suites in South Charleston. Weight loss hypnosis starts at 5:30 p.m. Registration 5 p.m. Stop smoking starts at 8 p.m. Registration 7:30 p.m.
Start weekdays with the morning news on 580 WCHS, your source for information to begin the day. Stay local at 9 with Dave Allen on 580 Live. Then Dave Wilson and TJ bring you Talkline, covering everything happening across West Virginia. Midday hosts Channel 13's Amanda Barron and Dave Allen present statewide news. Then it's Hotline with Dave Weekly and Coop, mixing sports and pop culture. Cap it off with intense WVU coverage on statewide sports line. All day, every day on the Voice of Charleston, 580 WCHS.
The latest in news, talk, and sports on 580 WCHS is brought to you by Jarrett Construction. Visit jarrett-construction.com for more information.
Right on time, right on budget. Call on Jarrett Construction.
1, 2, 3, I got it.
Welcome back to the show, Friday edition. It's 9:22. Senior producer Ryan Nicholson in charge of things this morning. Biggly, Piggly, Wiggly hotline 304-345-5858. Tony Vitaylor text 304-935-5008. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live is brought to you in part by Pinnacle Consultants. Poor indoor air quality can cause a variety of health issues, allergies, respiratory problems, and more. Pinnacle offers specialized indoor air quality services for residential, commercial, and industrial type settings. Visit pinnaclecorp.net, because what you don't know can't hurt you. Text says, don't forget, if you receive new towels or blankets for Christmas, please consider donating your old ones to the shelter. Very, very good advice. Appreciate that. Welcome into the show now, Kanawha County School Superintendent Paula Potter. Good morning and Happy New Year. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
Last time we had you on the show, we talked about school closures due to weather. Not much to report from that department over the last couple of days, thankfully, Superintendent.
Thankfully.
That's some good news, but winter's not over yet. But I don't know about you, but I'm kind of enjoying these 60-degree temperatures. I don't know about you, but I am.
I am enjoying them as well.
All right. We'll talk about cell phones in the classroom. A little background here. Last year, Superintendent, the legislature passed HB 2003, which mandated that county boards of education develop some sort of policy as it pertains to cell phones and tablets. The policy in Kanawha, as best I understand it, bans elementary and middle school students from having their devices at school at all, and high school can only have them out between classes and during lunch. How's it going so far overall? Then we'll break it down from there.
Well, I think we've had a really positive start with this policy. During the summer, once legislative was passed, I invited students to the board office to talk to me about their thoughts and opinions on what would work and what might not work, based on their opinions. Mm-hmm. And, of course, we had some really strong opinions of what should and shouldn't happen. And anyway, I think we came up with some common grounds with the student input. I think the county did a really great job communicating that with parents and with students and with teachers about what the expectations are so that we do follow the legislation. So it's been implemented, and, of course, we've had some students violate the policy. We have students who, violate all types of rules.
Sure.
And deal with that and move forward. We saw maybe a steeper infractions at the beginning of the school year. Those have steadily decreased. I think everyone has just kind of settled into what we are considering appropriate use of cell phones. And what we're deeming as appropriate use of cell phones, of course, is not to be out during instructional time. And so many students that I talk to will admit that it has helped them focus more in class. You know, a cell phone can be a distraction. I'm sure it is for all of us. I know if I'm in a meeting and my phone's beeping, it's hard not to look at it and see what,
sure.
you know.
That's why when you sit in meetings, most people, you know, either don't bring them in, or what they should do is turn them upside down with silence, so they're not as apt to want to take a look at them.
Correct. And so I do think this is a great policy that is helping our students develop those, you know, lifelong skills, work-based skills that they need, that, you know, a cell phone isn't something that you have to have on 24/7, and in some cases it's not appropriate to have on. And I think our teachers are very happy that distraction has been eliminated. And, you know, an unintended, or maybe it was intended, we are seeing less of the, you know, online bullying during the school day, which is always a bonus to not have to deal with so many of those issues during the school day. So all in all, it's been, you know, a pretty successful implementation of new rules, and we just are going to continue to work with those students that continue to have some violations.
Well, and I think it's very important, as you pointed out, and again, we're talking with Paula Potter, the superintendent of Kanawha County Schools. I think it's very important to reiterate what you said at the beginning of the segment, is that, you know, there's going to be violations of every rules. I was a kid once back in the late 1800s, and I remember going to school, and, you know, there's going to be violations of things like going up the wrong stairs. My school had specific stairs you were supposed to go up, and there's going to be violations of little things like gum chewing. There's going to be violations of all these things. This is not really any different, is what you're telling me, right?
Correct. It's no different. And, you know, I do want to give a shout out to our students. I think for the most part, our students do try to follow the rules. You know, like you said, there's just times when somebody, you know, for whatever reason doesn't make the best choice. And, you know, again, we have consequences that are in place. We are not, as with all of our rules, you know, trying to blow anything out of proportion. I know that we have developed processes for parents if they need to get a hold of their child during the school day. You know, I always laughed and said when I was in school, we didn't even have a cell phone, and I seemed to make it okay till the end of the day to talk to my parent. But, you know, again, our times have changed.
Yeah.
You know, constant or immediate opportunities to communicate with people. And so it's been an adjustment for everyone. And again, I think it's been a positive adjustment, and it's allowed people to have just a laser focus on what we're supposed to be doing at school.
And I want to talk about the parents for a moment, because studies have shown that prior to West Virginia ever passing this legislation, Superintendent, that in other areas, parents were the ones who seemed to have a more difficult time getting a handle on this. The kids, and I have read article after article, I've seen TV report after TV report, when they would sit down with a group of kids and they would ask them, they would say, well, how did you do? How are you handling this? And they would say, well, it was kind of rough at first, so on and so forth. But gradually we got used to it. In many cases, though, Superintendent, the parents are the ones that have a little bit more separation anxiety than what the kids do.
I do think that's true, and I do think, you know, in today's world, safety is always at the forefront of everyone's mind. And, you know, unfortunately, we've had incidences that have happened over, you know, throughout the United States that, as a parent, you know, I'm a parent too. You know, you think of maybe a worst case scenario and you want to be able to get in touch with your child. But we've tried to communicate to everyone in other states where things have happened and people have had their cell phones. The lines get blocked very quickly when everyone's trying to make phone calls, you know, all of those things. So again, we just want parents to know that we will do everything that we can. If they have something that they do need to talk to their child about, they can call the school and get a message to their child. And I think we do the very best that we can to have communication with parents and families at times when it's necessary.
Talking with Paula Potter, the superintendent of Kanawha County Schools. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you in part by Generations Ford of Hurricane. Drive home in a new or quality pre-owned Ford with no payments. Qualified buyers for up to 90 days. Generations, just off the Hurricane exit of I-64 or online generationsford.com. One destination for every generation, Generations Ford. See dealer for details. I want to talk about Kanawha County Schools Superintendent going into 2026. Give us sort of a state of the school's address, if you will. How are things going on? What's got you excited these days about Kanawha County Schools?
Well, the students and our teachers have me most excited about Kanawha County Schools. We have great things happening, from students winning academic awards all the way to winning athletic contests, to just students coming to school and sharing their great personalities with us. So that's what has us most excited. Our first semester is quickly wrapping up and second semester starts. So, we're in the midst of things, and we just want to remind parents, as we do, our main focus is on, getting kids to school and on time. That's an important aspect of attendance, and that's a work-based skill that will help you all through life. And we know they can learn the best if they are at school. So, we are continuing to push that. And then we are just making sure our students are making the academic progress that they need to make to be successful in their next step, whether it's next year's grade level or if they're graduating, if they're going to work, if they're going to career and technical college, or if they're going to college. It's just very exciting to see everybody mature. Halfway point, students are so different than at the beginning of the school year, and it's just very positive to see the gains that students are making at this halfway point.
Before we let you go, the legislative session gets underway, as I mentioned at the top of the show. Superintendent gets underway Wednesday. They'll gavel in. The governor will give his speech Wednesday night, and then they'll get down to business on Thursday. I'm not going to put you on the spot, anything particular, but is there any message that Kanawha County Schools would like to have to the legislature going through? Anything that you'd like to say, hey, can you take a look at this? Can you focus on this? Or what are you looking forward out of the upcoming legislative session? Because I know you educators will be keeping a close eye on the session.
Yes. Our focus has always been we would just like to have a positive partnership with everyone, including the legislatures, for public education. I'm not sure positivity always is the best selling point, but I strongly believe in what public school has to offer all students. I do think it's a method that we can educate everyone and help our students have a better future than, what you and I have as adults. Our goal is always to be to try to create a younger generation that's better than our generation. And I would hope that everyone that considers laws or policies or procedures has all that in the forefront of their mind too, so that our young people can begin to create, a better community and environment than what we have right now.
Dr. Paula Potter, Superintendent of Kanawha County Schools. I appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to be here with us today. Thanks a lot. We'll talk soon.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You as well. 27 minutes away from 10. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you in part by Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. Greg Thomas coming up a little bit later on the show. I just, again, you've heard me say this on the program, going back to the cell phones for a moment. You've heard me say this on the program before. Full disclosure, old guy, 55 years old, no kids, been a whole long time since I was in public school. I guess I just don't understand, as Dr. Potter alluded to there, what changed over the years in this thing with a lot, not all, with a lot of parents feeling the need to be in contact with their kids all day. Again, when you make these statements like, well, when I was in school, well, it's true. When, as a kid of the 70s and 80s in public school, we got on the bus, 7:15, we didn't talk to our parents all day. And if there was a reason for mom or dad to get in touch, they would call the office and leave a message if they could. If not, and we respected it. We didn't get texts throughout the day saying, don't forget you have Little League practice tonight or you got scouts tonight. You just remembered it, when you left the house. I just said, okay, don't forget you've got this coming up at 4:00 and woe be on your backside if you forgot. It's just that simple. And, you've heard me on this show talk about parents that take their kids to school as well. And I'm not talking about every situation. I realize that there are parents that it's a lot easier for them for their work situation or whatever, but you can't tell me that when I drive through that drive-through line, I've started leaving my house earlier because there's an elementary school just down from my house. And if you try to leave at 7, forget about it. You're going to be waiting a while. So, I've taken it upon myself to leave a little earlier now. That's on me. The amount of parents that take their kids to school that when there's no reason for it. I mean, jobs, I get that. Okay. In some cases, but in all the cases, I mean, really, we would have been mortified. I mean, absolutely mortified had we been seen with our parents taking us to school when I was a kid. I mean, we didn't want our friends to know we had parents. I mean, you go to a school event like a dance or basketball. Now, just drop me off half a mile down the road. I'll walk. I mean, I just don't realize what changed over the years. I mean, not good, bad again. Non-parent, I got to say non-grandparent of my age because of my age. I don't understand what changed. From the 1970s and 80s to now that I don't get it. Biggly Piggly Wiggly hotline 304-345-5858. Tony Taylor text 304-935-5008. About 24 minutes away from 10. We'll take a break. Senior producer Ryan Nicholson in charge of things today. Greg Thomas coming up next on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
The Dave Allen Show is presented in part by Generations Ford in Huracan, part of the Eric J. Tarr family of business.
Disaster strikes sometimes, but it doesn't have to be the end of the world. Rainbow Restoration of Kanawha and Putnam counties can take the worry and stress out of putting your home back together when disaster does strike. Whether it's fire or water damage, mold removal, or even full-service reconstruction, the trained professionals at Rainbow Restoration can help make it home again. It's not the end of the world with Rainbow Restoration. Call 304-201-0101.
Hey, this is Lisa Stofan. Heard the Mark Patrick weight loss hypnosis hype? Well, I attended because my father stopped smoking with hypnosis. Hypnosis eliminated my desire for soda and fast food, made me want to exercise, and I lost 60 pounds in 6 months. My energy level exploded. I went to another session to deal with some other problem foods, and I lost another 10 pounds. In fact, I brought my husband. He lost weight. More important, cholesterol and blood pressure improved. My friend went and she lost 20 pounds in the first 2 months. So does Mark Patrick hypnosis work? Oh yeah, it works. Nothing has changed my life more. Well, except maybe my husband. He's so proud of me. Makes me cry.
Join Mark Patrick Hypnosis and lose the weight or stop smoking or your money back only $59.99. That's right, weight loss hypnosis. Wednesday, January 14th at the Holiday Inn and Suites in South Charleston at 5:30 p.m. Registration 5 p.m. Stop smoking hypnosis 8 p.m. Registration 7:30 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com.
West Virginia starts its day with the morning news.
If I were a Democrat and I were to say, hey, what's the quickest way to eliminate the Republican supermajority in West Virginia? It would be for the Republicans to close their primary.
Other Republicans calling for the party to stick with that 2024 decision. A longtime well-known Democrat who is now an independent is also weighing in.
They should think about that long and hard because history will repeat itself.
The morning news, weekday mornings beginning at 5 on the Voice of Charleston, 580 WCHS.
Welcome back to the show. 22 minutes away from 10. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live is brought to you in part by your hometown baseball team, the Charleston Dirty Birds. It's wintertime. We're thinking about baseball at Go-Mart Ballpark. Now would be a great time to get your season tickets, merchandise, and more at dirtybirdsbaseball.com. Biggly Piggly Wiggly hotline 304-345-5858. Tony the Taylor text 304-935-5008. Coming up later today, Metro News Midday, 13 News, and Tonight Live anchor Amanda Barron and me, powered by Salango Law. Friday means we introduce you to another great eatery around the state of a lunch spot. Political commentator Mark Curtis will stop by. Jeff Jenkins has the news. TJ Meadows is here. Daniel Woods with your weekend sports blitz. The West Virginia Lottery celebrating their 40th anniversary. Folks from the lottery are going to join us on set. Plus, candidate for Intermediate Court of Appeals Jim Douglas will stop by. And, of course, Open Line West Virginia Metro News Midday, powered by Salango Law with 13 News and Tonight Live anchor Amanda Barron and me coming up at noon today. And on this show Monday, Danny Jones will stop by. Candidate for Kanawha County Commission Jared Page is here, and Sierra Marling from the Clay Center. Appreciate Dale Cooper sitting in for me on the local show yesterday, and Jeff Jenkins and Daniel Woods on the afternoon show. Just a little update from yesterday. Had a little medical procedure done yesterday. Still trying to get some questions answered. And I'll know more in the coming days. So the chart, what kind of course of action I'll be taking for possible cancer, but it's all good. Either way, one thing you can be assured of is I'm going to make fun of the entire thing and will not take a single thing seriously, just so you know, because that's what I do.
You should probably take the medical procedures seriously. Like maybe like the not in the hospital stuff, a little lighthearted, but maybe like making those decisions.
Well,
maybe.
I mean, I go and I do what they tell me to do, but if you think I'm going to sit here and just or lay there and just say, I got stuff to do, man. I got stuff to do, so I ain't got.
I've been thinking about.
I ain't got time for this stuff.
I've been thinking about you. Man.
That voice you hear is Greg Thomas. How you doing, man?
Doing well.
Have a good holiday season.
We did. Busy, man. When you got like kids and travel and, grandparents and stuff back and forth, I like the whole 2 weeks was like over of the kids being off school. And I had like 1 half day off one day and 1 half day. You know what I mean? I looked at my schedule and I was like, I'm not going to get any rest.
You got to go back to work and get the kids back to school so you can get some rest.
Yeah, get a little rest. I've been busy all week.
Well, session's coming up next week. Of course, the governor will give his state of the state. We'll get to that a little bit later on. But first of all, Greg, the Republican Party will have their winter meeting tomorrow in Charleston I don't want to say on the schedule because I don't know what the schedule is, but there's a possibility. They say that there could be some talk about the opening the party back up. Of course, 2024, I guess it was, the Republicans made the decision to close the primary for independents. Last night, I understand, got some info before the show that from Jackson County, the Jackson County GOP last night voted in favor of keeping the primaries closed. That was in Jackson County. Kanawha County's already done a resolution for that. Spoke to some folks where I live in Putnam County. They say that wasn't even brought up there as far as what I understand, unless I misunderstood it. It's not even been brought up there. Joe Manchin on Wednesday issues a very long statement on X imploring upon the Republican Party to keep their primary open, his words, independents like me or something like that. That's what he said. Something to that effect.
Independents like Joe. Huh?
All right. So what do you say?
Look, Joe Manchin's always been a party of one, right? I mean, he's been in the Joe Manchin party forever, but Joe Manchin's a Democrat. He's always been a Democrat. He'll always be a Democrat. He, I guess he tried to save some face because the National Democrats got so extreme there at the end, and he got all mad at him. But I think Joe Manchin came out and said that because, to me, the Republicans keeping the primary closed is the best possible thing you could do to help regrow the Democratic Party in West Virginia, right? Dave, as you know, I've been a political consultant in West Virginia since 2002. I've probably run more Republican races than anybody else over that time. Having the independents vote in our primary and then continue to support us in the general elections that is what has enabled us to get into the majority and helped build us the supermajority that we now have. And doing away with that and sort of, essentially looking at 300,000 people and saying, hey, we don't really need you now, which is crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I mean, Republicans in West Virginia only have 40% registration. So in elections, you need 50% plus one to win. 50 is greater than 40. I just don't understand. I don't understand what we're doing. I mean, I get the whole, they'll go out and some people will say, oh, well, the Democrats are going to become independents and infiltrate our party. The Democrats are already switching to Republican to infiltrate our party. I mean, look at the policies that are going on in Charlotte. You can't pass a tax cut with those people that are up there right now. These are big government Democrats that take most of their money from other Democrats that are in our party as it is. And so, to me, this idea that they're going to infiltrate it is silly. They already have infiltrated it. A poll was taken this week with a group that I'm associated with, and we asked just a handful of questions, but one of them was, who'd you vote for president? Well, guess what? Over 60% of the independents voted for Trump. These aren't a bunch of liberals. I mean, these are people that vote for Trump. And the idea that closing the primary is going to put a gun to their head and force them to register Republican. First off, I don't want to force anybody to register to be Republican, right? We should be changing the perspective and educating people on why our policies are better, not, carjacking them. But that's what this is though, right? I mean, this is, we only got 40%. We want to get to 50%. But we asked a question of 458 independents and said, hey, if the Republicans close their primary, will you switch registration? And only 20% of them said they would. Mm-hmm. And then furthermore, we said, okay, well, if the Republican primary is closed, are you still going to vote for Republicans in the fall? And only a third of them said they would. Where right now, 2/3 of them are voting for us. You got 300,000 independents in the state. I mean, you're essentially looking at we know we will be getting rid of 100,000 potential voters in the fall. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Greg, I had somebody who is very involved in politics told me that it's not really going to matter in 2022 because the turnout's going to be low.
Yeah.
President's not on the ballot. President whomever. I mean, that's what I mean by that. The president's not on the ballot, so it's not going to matter as much in 2022. That's what I was told by somebody. Your take on that?
I agree with that. I've been. If you and I have talked about this. Probably we talked about it 2 years ago when they first did it, and I wasn't really on one side or the other. I kept saying, hey, to the people that were wanting to close it, I said, man, why don't you guys come up with some data, come up with some examples of other places that did this and what were the results? Of course, nobody came up with anything, right? This is a very emotional thing. There's a handful of politicians right now in West Virginia, and it's really it's the Republican candidates that can't get 50% in a primary. And what they want to do, rather than say, okay, I can't get 50%, how do I grow my 35%? They look at it and say, well, how do I shrink the number of people that come in so my 35% is higher? Mm-hmm. That's what this is about. That's 100% what this is about, and everybody knows it. And so if you're on the state executive committee, you're either a sheep that follow a handful of politicians, or you're somebody that's going to actually look at data and going to actually, people that have been involved in the party for 20, 25 years like me, that have the best interests of the conservative movement in the Republican Party. And to me, we've got to if we want to attract people to the party, we'd actually need to be conservative. And we're not doing that in Charleston. We didn't do that last session, and there's no chance they're going to be conservative this upcoming session.
Well,
no chance.
And I will say this, in talking to different people that I consider to be more right wing, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but I mean they said exactly what you said. One person I talked to in particular said, we got to do what we can to keep these quote unquote rhinos out of the party and to keep it conservative. I agree with you. A lot of what we've seen coming out of Charleston the last couple of years, Greg, is not conservative. And this is where you and I may disagree on some things, and that's okay. A lot of what's come out of the Trump White House is not very conservative either.
I think there's certain, he's got that populist bent. There's certain things that I think, he built a coalition of some people that bring different ideas to the table, for sure. Look, bringing up Trump is part of this too, though, right? Because right now in West Virginia, there's a whole bunch of people that support Trump that hadn't supported Republicans before.
True. Very true.
And when Trump is gone, they're not going to stay with us. I mean, you don't
think that they would stay on, let's say 2028 if
maybe
J.D. Vance is a nominee, for example.
Some of them will. I mean, the problem is, look, there was always a certain wing of the Democratic Party that was socially conservative, but still very liberal on the economic issues, not pro, big government, not really pro personal responsibility. But they, and the National Democrats got so extreme on trans issues and boys and girls sports and stuff like that. And those people left the Democratic Party, became Republicans because it was like, oh my gosh, they're crazy on the social issues. But they didn't assimilate on the economic issues when they got here, right? It was still like, so now all of a sudden our Republican Party, there are like no Republicans that support trans surgeries for minors or boys and girls sport. I mean, it doesn't happen. And so our legislature has addressed all those issues, right? But so now we've addressed all those issues, and now it's like, okay, well, what's next? And all of the ideas you hear now of those people are big government, tax and spend sort of ideas, because because they're really Democrats. They're really Democrats, and you can look at their campaign finance reports. If half your money's coming from Democrat trial lawyers in Charleston, you don't get to tell me you're a conservative. You just don't. You can you don't get to do that. And we're going to hold those people accountable during this upcoming election. But look, this Saturday, the state executive committee's got a chance to do this. You mentioned the Kanawha County Republican Executive Committee vote to keep it closed, which is insane. And let me tell you why it's insane. In Kanawha County, there are 44,000 Republicans. There are 40,000 Democrats, and there are 31,000 independents. 40 plus 31 is 71. Okay. 71's greater than 44. We got into the supermajority by growing a coalition based around issues and policy and a cause, right? And now this idea that, okay, we're just going to keep them out. I mean, we won't win another general election. They passed this stuff in a cycle or two. We'll never win a general election in Kanawha County. We just won't do it. And I think, though, some of the people in charge of the executive committee in these counties, they don't want to win. These were the people that were around 20 years ago that didn't lift a finger to help us get the majority. And now they're the ones all of a sudden that's like they see new people coming into the party and all this stuff. And they would rather control a minority position than be part of a majority position. And that's a little bit of what's going on with all of this.
Any predictions on what will happen tomorrow?
I don't know.
If anything?
I don't know. I honestly, before the group that I'm associated with took this survey this week, I wasn't really involved in this at all. After I saw the data and looked at this, and I kind of felt like it would be a bad idea. I felt like it wasn't going to matter in the short term and it would matter in the long term. But after seeing this information and the results of the survey, it's kind of scary for what it's going to do for the Republican Party in a decade.
But what would you say to those who would say, look, if you're a person who identifies as Republican, that's the current buzzword these days is identify. Yeah. If you identify as a Republican, all the Republican things, then you should register as a Republican or Democrat. I
think a lot of political people assume that independents are thinking about politics more than they are. Most independents, it's not that they look at it and think like, well, I don't identify with either party. Most of it's just, I'm just not that political. And I go vote when like things get really bad one way or another.
Yeah. You hear the constant, I vote for the person, not the party.
Yeah. And, or I don't vote at all if things are going okay. And I go vote when my electric bill's $500 a month, and then I go vote for the person that says they're going to make it $300 a month. Right. Whatever.
Talking to Greg Thomas, 9:52. We'll take a break and be back after this on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Are you looking for a technical job in the medical field? Generations is growing and looking to add on job-trained physical therapy techs to our rehab team. To apply, visit one of our 7 convenient locations or simply click on us at generationspt.com.
Poca Valley has proudly served the citizens of Roane, Kanawha, Putnam, and surrounding counties for over a century. As your trusted community bank, we're committed to building relationships and meeting your financial needs. And with the Poca Valley Visa card, you can enjoy competitive interest rates, no annual fees, and a rewarding points program, all from a bank you know and trust. Visit your local Poca Valley office to apply or call us. Poca Valley, where relationships matter. Member FDIC.
Are missing teeth affecting your confidence and quality of life? Dental implants may be the right option for you. Let Garib Dental Group, with their skilled team of doctors at 6 locations, be your trusted source for dental implants. With dental implants from Garib Dental Group, you can eat, speak, and laugh with confidence. Dental implants can change someone's life for the better. Visit GaribDentalGroup.com to find out more and take the first steps towards a healthier, happier smile. And at Garib Dental Group, like always, we love to see your smile.
It's time for the annual West Virginia Hunting and Fishing Show, the largest gathering of its kind in the Mountain State. January 23rd, 24th, and 25th, we'll see you at the Charleston Coliseum and Convention Center. Booth after booth of hunting and fishing gear, along with outdoor vendors to help you plan that trip of a lifetime, including custom rifle makers and all-new African safari outfitters. Bring the whole family. The Bass Pro Shop Youth Outdoor Challenge is back. Seminars all weekend long on the West Virginia DNR stage. Saturday evening, it's the charity auction where you can pick up great deals on guided hunting and fishing trips, guns, and more.
I now tell you, 92 down to 92.
As usual, I'll have West Virginia Outdoors live from the show floor and a special 3-hour edition on Saturday. $12 at the door. Those under 12 get in free. Noon to 9 Friday, 9 to 9 Saturday, and 10 to 5 Sunday, January 23rd through the 25th. We'll see you at the West Virginia Hunt and Fishing Show at the Charleston Coliseum and Convention Center.
Welcome back to the show. 6 minutes away from 10. The Dave Allen Show on 580 Live, brought to you part by Husson's Pizza. This month, get a large 18-inch pepperoni pizza and a pizza bowl, $22.99. Find your nearest Husson's for delivery, pickup, or dine in at Husson'sPizza.com. Biggly, Piggly, Wiggly hotline, 304-345-5858. Tony the Taylor, text 304-935-500. Greg Thomas is here. Text says Greg is spot on. Text says Greg is on it. It's the Democrats turn Republicans making these decisions.
That person, that texter there is on it. That's it really is the case. I mean, that person's right. I mean, that's really the case of what's going on. It's like we didn't realize that by having all of these Democrats switch to Republican, like those Democrats didn't switch to independent. The Democrats just switched to Republican. And then they got involved in the party over the last 5 years or so. And all those people that have become active Republicans in the last 5 years, they're guaranteed to have been a Democrat. And they
Why do you think the more Democrats that switched didn't switch to independent though?
I think they're just people that like to be involved in a party, and they were sort of the ones that had lost power within the Republican Party over the years. I mean, look, Joe Manchin wants the independents to vote in the Democrat primary because they're a lot more conservative than the Democrats, right? Mm-hmm. Like those are he would view the independents as West Virginia as his kind of Democrat. So Joe Manchin wants them, he doesn't want them to keep, he doesn't want the Republicans to keep it open. He wants them to close it, that way it would force those independents into the Democratic Party, because right now the Democratic Party is extremely liberal. And those, like I said, 2/3 of the independents voted for Trump for president, right?
All right. Text says conservatives being pro personal responsibility and then giving businesses millions or billions of dollars is the most hypocritical thing ever. Businesses are people too, according to the law, and should have the same personal responsibility as expected from a student loan borrower. Business owners always rely on government handouts. Text says I'd never register as a Republican or vote Republican because the party doesn't value body autonomy and is constantly attempting to violate the Constitution by imposing Christianity using government. GOP is anti-constitutional.
There's actually a whole political party that believes half of that, which is the Constitution Party. And so there are some people out there that not the abortion aspect of that texter, but the rest of that, there is a whole group. Actually, the Constitution Party is going to be on the ballot this time. They have,
that's who Don Blankenship was affiliated with.
He was there for a little bit, and then what was that guy? What was I can't think of the dude that he ran for governor and he got 1%. Marshall Wilson.
Okay.
Marshall, nice guy, super nice guy. He ran, got more than 1%, so now they're on the ballot. So what happens there is they'll have a convention probably like in June or something like that, and then whoever they nominate, for delegate, legislature, or whatever, will be on the ballot. Yeah. And so that the Mountain Party had that they've had that forever, and so that was sort of the Mountain Party was sort of the group that the Democrats weren't liberal enough for them, and then I think the Constitution Party is going to be a group that says, hey, you guys aren't quite as conservative enough.
Let me throw this out there real quick because I got about a minute and a half. Couple of big announcements over the last couple of days. Donna Boley retiring from the state Senate, served very, very well, and one
for
time
like 40 years.
Yeah, she was the only Republican.
Yeah, back in the early 90s, it was 33-1, and she was the one.
Okay, and that's and then Senator Mike Woelfel opting not to run for re-election.
Yeah, I think he kind of looked like he was trying to get out. I think he was trying to find somebody to sort of be a successor down there, and wasn't really able to find somebody. And then Chris Miller, of course, has announced that he's going to run for state Senate.
What do you think about Chris's chances?
Chris is a good friend of mine. I like Chris a lot. He'll run a big campaign and he'll go do a lot of work. Okay. And so I think it'll go well for him.
All right, real quick, what do you expect to hear the governor say Wednesday night? 30 seconds.
I think he's going to go for a tax cut, and I hope that he's able to make it work.
All right. Greg Thomas, always a pleasure to have you here, my friend. Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
Coming up on Monday's show again, Danny Jones will stop by. Sierra Marling from the Clay Center is here, and candidate for Kanawha County Commission, Jared Page. Meadows and Wilson coming up with Talk Line on many of the same Metro News stations. I'll be back later today, Metro News Midday, with 13 News and Tonight Live anchor Amanda Barron and me. Coming up a little bit later on in the show. Our producer was senior producer Ryan Nicholson. Thank you so much. I will see you later today at noon. Till then, have fun I love somebody.
WCHS AM 96.5 FM Charleston and 104.5 Cross Lanes, a WVRC media station. We're proud to live here too.